Holy shit,
Here we
game
are,
7.
buddy. Here we
Stanley
are.
Cup Finals. Here we are, bud. Here we
Just
are.
as
Well,
we predicted, right? We knew we'd
oh,
get
man.
here.
Come on. It is amazing, this schedule. By the way, welcome to NHL Puck Prop presented by Sports Interaction on Covers. It is amazing that I went through that whole trip, came home, and they played 2 games. That whole time I was
Yeah,
away, there was only 2 games played. But
yeah.
here we are. We've seen some massive line movement currently. Florida, a home underdog on the money line, minus 105. That is bananas. Game 5, minus 160. They closed at. The under getting absolute pummeled to the moon, minus 150, under 5.5. The
Mm.
trend is out of control. Everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be it's going to be a very tight game. The refs are going to swallow their whistles, so to say. The over hasn't hit in a Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals since pre-World War One.
Yeah.
Where are you on the side and the total before? I'm no edge, obviously. Just how do you feel on this? Are you pro momentum and are you pro
Yeah.
trend, which would lead you to Edmonton and the under?
Well, I'm definitely pro trend. I think you look at the game sevens, games you can go to that record, this game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, 14-0 in their last 14 games. You could go to this year's game sevens in the playoffs, all have been unders, 3-0 so far. I just think that when you have a game 7, there is so much nerves that are built up between both teams and all the players out on the ice that nobody wants to be the victim of a mistake. So there's a little tentative hockey that's being played. And because of that, guys aren't taking many risks with the puck. There aren't many penalties that are called. And so far we've seen some big goalie performances. And it's hard not to envision or imagine that you could see those same type of performances tonight. I mean, especially with the way Skinner is playing in his stats and elimination games so far this playoffs. And do we expect Bobrovsky to be game 1 Bobrovsky or game 5, 6, 5 and 6 Bobrovsky?
Losing
So
Conn Smythe, Bobrovsky, that guy, yeah.
yeah, that guy. So normally in these type of games, do see great goaltending, you do see tight checking, you do see nerves, you do see a lot of teams that are scared to make a mistake. So that's why the under trends in these type of games, because there's a lot on the line. So that's one thing I'm following that trend. I'm really torn on where to go with the side here, because if you're a momentum guy, you're all over Florida, or you're all over Edmonton, right? They have all the momentum in the world. We're talking about a series where we've seen 2 completely different teams in different segments of this series. The first 3 games, it was dominated by Florida. There was no one says, everyone said Florida's playing at a different level than Edmonton. Then Edmonton has that breakout game in game 4, and just everything is clicking for them. Their power plays back, their penalty kills back, their defense is back, they're getting goaltending. McDavid has put the team on their shoulders. And you see a Florida team that just doesn't look anything like we've seen all year.
Nothing.
Bad defensively, not good on the power play, taking bad penalties, not getting the best of goaltending. And you wonder how the script has sort of flipped here. So clearly, I'm a betting guy.
You're on the
So
market side. You're on the under and the Oilers, right?
yeah, I mean, but here's the other way to look at it. You have one game to win the Stanley Cup. What player would you choose in this game that you want on your team
Warren
to win
Fogle.
that game? Right?
Yeah.
It's Connor McDavid. And the
For
thing
sure.
about Connor McDavid is he went scoreless. He went shotless last game. It's almost like he took a breather and the team won, which
Well,
means
let's
he's
be
got a
honest.
lot more.
McDavid's had 2 games in the series where he scored 8 points, and then the other one
Right.
he was down 4-1 and he potted 2
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. And Adam Digest points out that maybe the way Florida's played the last 2 years has wore them down. And there's a great argument to be made about that.
That forecheck, that was my next question to you, because that was my takeaway from that game. It was puck in and then Edmonton puck out in the defensive zone. The forecheck was useless. Is that more of on the players, or is that Knobloch and Edmonton making the right adjustments defensively?
Well, clearly it's Knobloch and the coaching staff making different adjustments to the game so that they don't spend much time in their end. and it's one touch out where you could allow Edmonton's speed to take over the game. But a lot of it has to do as well with first goal of the game, right? When Florida scores the first goal of the game, they're able to settle into the game they want to play. When they're not and they're chasing, they get exposed because now Edmonton's speed game takes over. Florida can't get in and, chase pucks and play heavy on the forecheck and close out, time and space with their top players because there just isn't that time that's allowed because they're trying to create offense when you would think defense is their strength, their first strength of that team, and offense comes off of that. But when they're chasing the game, they can't establish that type of forecheck game. So
Cody Ceci, I owe Cody Ceci an apology. He's looked pretty good back there, right? Like he hasn't stood out. He hasn't been.
Well, every defenseman's looked good back there, inclling Darnell Nurse, including the last 3 games. Because
they make quick passes out of the zone.
I mean, did you see that stat during last game where Florida had five or six shots on net through halfway through the game, and not one of them was from a forward?
Yeah, they couldn't even get anything low to high shot down.
And as Adam points out too, Broberg has been a nice injection of youth on their back end as well too. A guy that can move the puck, create some offense. So a lot has changed. And look, when you're talking about a game 7, one game to take all, Florida, what favors them is they have the home crowd. What favors them is, do you expect them to lose 4 games in a row versus 3 games in a row? Yeah. But if you're betting on momentum, it's clearly on Edmonton's side right now.
All right, let's do the quick rundown before we get to the picks. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. We've lost twice on him. He has a 5-on-3 goal, and he blocked a shot that sprung Zach Hyman for a breakaway goal. That's how that one went.
When I was watching that Hyman goal, because I was hard on the Nugent-Hopkins under. When I saw that Hyman goal, I was like, oh, man, what a play. And then I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Did Nugent-Hopkins block that shot? If he did, that's a point. And then when I saw the replay, I'm like, no, what a greasy way to lose that.
Yeah, that was a greasy way. I still think there's value him on the second line on the under, especially with fewer power play opportunities. But his price is shortening up, plus 110 at Sports Interaction, under 0.5. That's a bit of a lean. We look at some other things that boys in the chat are bringing up. Carter Verhaeghe. He's been pretty much donuts. He had an assist in the last game. He's been donuts. He did move off PP1 during game 6. Not sure where he starts for game 7, but that is alarming. He hasn't really done anything. He's even money not to get a point in a game with a projected total of like 5.1 goals in the game. So there's something there. Montour still off PP1. OEL is still PP1. There he is. First time I caught you live. There's James Strange. Appreciate it. Don't like Montour off PP1. It looked awful. The PP1 looked absolutely awful. McDavid, Tkachuk, 3 shots on goal. It's not a bad way to look. I am scared to hit a lot of the big shot on goal markets, right? Like so there's Adam jumping in. Reinhardt under shots on goal. So maybe those guys, you're kind of
Is Reinhardt still sitting at 3.5?
No, he should be 2.5 at plus money on the under if I take a quick look. And then McDavid, 2.5 points, minus 110. I'll get to it. I'm gonna get to the first play because that's prompted. Warren Fogle, not the tie, producer Mick. We're going to go Warren Fogle for a point at plus 150. This game's going to be played a lot at 5-on-5. Fogle has a point in 4 straight games, just riding shotgun with Hyman and McDavid. I think if you're contemplating the McDavid over 1.5, minus 110, plus 150 seems a lot better. I'm happy if this game's 2-2 with a plus 151 point, then McDavid 2 points in a projected 2-2 game at minus 110. I mean, this guy's playing game 7. He's going to play it tight. Don't do anything silly, Warren. Just give it to 97. Give it to Hyman. 150 is an absolute banger of a price playing with McDavid, who's projected for basically 1.5 points tonight, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Fogle, you're just going value hunting, right? It's probably the best value you can get on a player that's playing alongside McDavid, who most people expect to activate McJesus mode tonight, right? And I like the McDavid over 1.5 or record 2 or more points, whatever way it's labeled in the sports book. I just think that McDavid dragged this team to Game 6 alone, 8 points in 2 games. He was still making stuff happen in Game 6, but they didn't need to rely on him in Game 6, which could almost be looked at as a blessing here for the Edmonton Oilers, knowing that they were able to win a game without him playing a primary role in the result, knowing that he only played 18 minutes last game, and you almost wonder if it was an extra breather that he was allowed to get, knowing that he needed to prepare himself for a Game 7. And I asked this question to many people. In this game, if you needed one person if you wanted one person to be the guy leading the way for you, who would you pick? And it's the best player in the game, McDavid. So if the Oilers are going to have a chance to complete history, which is the reverse sweep, a chance to win the Stanley Cup, you got to think it's going to be McDavid leading the way. And if he does, the optics of, or the probability of him recording 2 or more points is probably very high, because he'll be the guy leading the way doing so. So that's why I like it. I like Edmonton to win. I'm on the momentum train. I could easily be wrong about this. The one thing that really scares me about this game is how much the line is moving to Edmonton's favor, which means a lot of the public is on Edmonton. And we all know in this world what normally happens when a lot of the public's on one side. So Florida can easily win this game too. Like if Florida finds their game and reclaims their identity, they could win this game as well too. But if Edmonton wins, I'm banking on the Edmonton win. And if I think they win, I think McDavid's going to be the guy doing it.
Yeah, I'm looking at over 5.5 at plus 125 at Book Interaction. And that's
4-2 with an empty netter.
No, like it's just we saw the dumb empty netter in Game 6, right? Yeah. Like that game was dead to the water.
Yeah, like why did Florida pull their goalie at 3-1 with 10 minutes left?
Because that's what happens. Because that's the outs for the over. So I'm leaning on the over. And I mean, I'll have to go. I'm on the opposite of you, and then the lean on Florida just because the price minus 105 is a little silly. I get it, but
I'm not going to pick a side in this game because
either am I. But I'm just leaning at those prices for sure.
Right, 100%. Like if I was betting, I would take the plus money in this game.
Okay, like, so we got Fogle in the books for an official play for a point at plus 150. That's it. Quick before we get to the other plays, McDavid a lock for Conn Smythe?
Yes.
Yeah,
I know. Minus 3,500?
He's minus 8 billion. Yeah, it's. But I really wanted to see if they had the balls to give him the cup, losing in 6 games, which I don't think was the spot, but the market was there. So that one's tough. Handoff. We got a handoff. Kyle Okposo draws back into the lineup for Nick Cousins tonight. He is the betting favorite for
the handoff.
Florida. I know.
He's playing. Make any sense.
I don't get it.
Like I get it. Like he's a guy that's played in the league a long time, but he's got no Florida ties. I mean, the guy just game.
RNH or Draisaitl.
RNH.
Boom. Ekblad or Okposo.
I go Ekblad because he's the longest serving. Or who?
Bobrovsky.
It's a toss up, but you would think that
number one overall pick.
It would be the longest serving guy that's there. I would think.
I think that's the only reason Okposo's the favorite, just because of his games played. The guy's played like 8 minutes a game for the team over literally 12 games. It seems like. All right, final play. Edge, not really. Price, better than we've seen it, but there's a little madness here. Tie. Regulation tie plus 300. All right.
So game goes to
pick.
Basically.
We haven't seen a tie yet in the series, which seems improbable to begin with, right? The under has taken a butt ton of money there. We're seeing minus 155. It's pretty much a coin toss pick 'em right now between the two teams. If one game was shaping up to be a 2-2 tie after 60 minutes, just looking at the markets, it is this game.
One. Yeah.
17 game sevens, since 1987. Only twice has it needed extra time to decide a champion. Can we make it 3 times tonight? Who doesn't want Stanley Cup Game 7? Downs 3-0 to come back 3-0 to go to overtime.
Yeah.
We can
And
hope.
then imagine the guy who scores that goal. You'll be forever enshrined in the Stanley Cup history.
Kids will be playing at their school parking lots with tennis balls. I mean,
so
I don't know.
I don't know if you can pull this up, but is there a market for who scores overtime, the overtime goal?
No, haven't really seen a potential game-winning goal, or they would just be a game-winning goal.
Game-winning goal. You
right?
haven't seen a market like that?
No. Where are you going? One side.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, if we pick the guy right now, what those prices would be? Because I think if it does go to overtime, I'm picking Matthew Tkachuk on Florida and Zach Hyman on Edmonton. Because I just feel like those guys are like made for the net front, and
you just want
that's
some
how it goes.
Close bangers there.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, I will go Warren Fogle. Yeah, Warren Fogle.
And go Luosterainen.
Right. No, I'll go Vlad Tarasenko on the other side.
Okay.
And if you're looking for pizza money, I know no one is out there super enjoying betting singles all night. I put together what do we got? A bunch of 1.5s. Rodriguez over 1.5 shots, Tarasenko over 1.5 shots, Ekblad over 1.5 shots, and Fogle over 1.5 shots, about plus 550. A little pizza money parlay if you're looking for something like that.
Who doesn't love pizza?
I know. And overtime, once it hits overtime, those boys will be just throwing pucks on that. So, I mean, if it comes down to it, if there is one edge and we do see extra time, it will be defensemen just throwing pucks on net and getting things through. If it does go to overtime, what can you see in the tentiveness in the game?
I mean, if it goes to overtime, you're probably going to see a lot of nerves take over too, right? I mean, considering the next goal wins the Stanley Cup, you'd probably see guys, again, not wanting to make a mistake. And normally it's one of those weird balances that finds its way in the back of the net. Because I can't even imagine being a goalie and you being the last line of defense in overtime, knowing that any puck towards your net has a chance to go in and you may look like the bad guy in all of it. So
history time, bud. History time. Absolute history time.
It is. Look, tonight's an historic game, right? Either way, it's historic. If Edmonton wins, it's the great comeback. It's McDavid, the best player in hockey, finally getting his Stanley Cup on his trophy case. And if it's Florida, it's a team that, went to Game 7 after being up 3-0. It's their first ever Stanley Cup in their franchise history. It's on home ice. Like there's so many stories to write about this game.
Yeah, one of the bigger games of my generation for sure. I can't really think anything off it outside of historic Leaf losses, but this one's right up there. So let's quick recap of actual things that we're putting money down on today at Sports Interaction. Fogle for a point, plus 150, playing on the McDavid line. Obviously, lots of 5-on-5 time tonight. Whistles away, and we can only hope that Game 7 goes to overtime. And we're getting plus 300 there. The 2-2 tie. If there was a time for a 2-2 tie, it is tonight. Game 7, last show of the year. Like and subscribe. Producer Mick always patting me on the back saying, get them to subscribe, get them to like. Maybe we got some draft stuff coming up. The absolute picks between 2 and 5, nobody knows. No one knows who's going 2. No one knows who goes 5. One guy I read said, everybody in the 2 to 5 spots in the NHL draft could all get their number 1 choice in those spots. And it'll be interesting. I know you're working on it, so hopefully we can get something out on that. But let's leave it at that. The markets are moving towards Edmonton. The markets are moving to the under. Which side do you stand on? We got our plays. We've talked it out. Let us know what you're thinking. That's going to be a wrap on the season, bud. Plus units all year. I mean, it's tough to bet on one game.
Wifey's getting a purse.
There you go. Good. Yeah.
Just pay for my golf membership.
Yes, there's a note always somewhere. So appreciate it. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Prop presented by Sports Interaction. Lead us out, pal.
I just want to thank everybody who's joined us this year. This has been awesome. We hope to continue with you next year and make it bigger and better. We hope you've profited with us, and we hope you continue to profit with us. And Josh, you're my boy, buddy. This has been awesome. I hope we can continue this partnership moving forward.
Did you write that down?
No, man, that's off the top of my head.
Okay. Just checking, bro.
I looked right at you when I said
you know how to ruin it, Josh. You know how to ruin a nice sentimental moment. You're my boy, Blue. I appreciate it, pal. We'll be talking. Let's go, Fogel. Let's go.
All right.
Extra time.
OT, baby.